This will be the craziest sermon I've probably ever preached on a Sunday, and one, and one it's not even really preaching, and yeah, you could leave now, and everything would be. But it was good. We had a good time of worship, the Lord's Supper, and sing Sherry happy birthday, all this stuff, and so I am. There is so much. When we opened up this series, I mean there is so much, and I just feel like every message could just become a series of its own. We could spend a whole lot of time there. What has been the goal for me, I think, has been to give us new eyes to see in Scripture where we often, not only Scripture, but in our world, to try to help us see that there's more to reality than just the physical. There is a spiritual reality. And so there's just so many themes that are kind of tied together that I've tried to just give you snapshots and not the whole. But I do try to have things cohere, kind of come together, and but this one might seem like really, really. So I almost came this morning prepared to tell you I give you an option, let you choose which message I do today, because I've been preparing the one on angels, followed by one on demons. And the one on angels, because of the way this week went, I didn't get to get my handout prepared the way I wanted to. And I've had this other thing that's been on the side. It's a sliver art. It's just a sliver of the one that I want to do on strange phenomenon. So it's just a sliver of it. But it kind of fits last week, in that last week we were in Colossians and Galatians and what the Bible has to say about elementary spirits. Okay, elementary spirits are a unique classification of spirits, and we did a nosedive straight down into Colossians. We didn't even get to the Galatians part. But let me just say, I'm going to pick up where I ended last week. But let me just say that the elementary spirits, the understanding, for us to understand that rightly, is that when God created the physical universe, the sun, the moon, the stars, okay, one of the things that he said that was set for was for times and seasons and all of that kind of stuff. But then he warned never to worship the sun, moon, and stars. And you find this throughout the Old Testament. You also find that the Old Testament, not the Old Testament, but in antiquity, the understanding of the universe was built on 4 elements. Do you remember what those were? Yeah, earth, wind, fire, and water. That's what the Greeks, that's what everybody thought, the biblical authors at the time. The Bible is not a science book, okay? So that doesn't mean it's counter-science, but it's not a science book. So they didn't understand about the deeper elements but those were the 4 primary elements. Well, the elementary spirits were connected to the elements in the sense that the belief system of the world at the time, kind of a supernatural understanding, was that maybe gods were connected to maybe the sun, moon, and stars. They could be angels. They could be gods. They could be physical objects that are governed by the gods or the angels, because they saw their movement in the circuitry in the heavens. They saw it a whole lot more than we see it. We have too much light and everything else. We can't see it. They were fascinated with the heavens, okay? But also on earth, they were fascinated with water and earth. And you can see all the gods that were attached to these different elements, okay? Well, the teaching, and God was forbidding for believers, for Israel or anybody else to do what the other nations were doing. And they were either worshiping these objects or worshiping the spirit beings, the divine beings that were connected to these elements, and they were looking to them to guide them. So they saw that their fate and their destiny was in some way connected to that. Okay? So that's what Paul is trying to deal with in Colossians there. These elementary spirits, don't go back to this. You've been set free from this in Christ. All you need is Jesus Christ. Now, I ended last week on what was called, I had a little paragraph in that handout I gave you on elementals. Elementals, okay? What are elementals? Because that's what we're going to talk about today. Elementals are an extension or an evolutionary way of thinking about these beings so elementals are anything from fairies to gnomes to you name it, to nymphs, there's a bunch of them, okay? And so that's the reason why this one's going to be a little different, a little interesting. All right? So, are you with me so far? Okay. So leprechauns are elementals. Okay, they're called elementals. All right? Here's the question I want to open up with, because elementals, we have to ask ourselves the question, are elementals an earthly species? In other words, we're going to look specifically. Let me tell you what we're going to look at specifically. I already chased 2 people away. Look at that. Now, I know, yeah, I'm teasing with you. So we're going to look at fairies. So, yes, Ed? I don't have a handout today. Yeah, sorry. Because we're going to watch something here in just a few minutes. I'm setting us up for it. So here's the first thing. Elementals could be one of 3 things, or fairies. We're going to limit it to fairies. And fairies was a catch-all phrase. We think of fairy tales and what's the little Tinkerbell? We think of that as yeah. We think of that as fairies, okay? But fairies were leprechauns. All of these fell under the family of fairies, or fae. Fae was an important word. So elementals, here's the question I want to ask you. Are elementals or fairies, are they an earthly species, or are they mythological creatures or mythical creatures, or are they spiritual beings? I'm going to force you to make a choice right now, and I'm going to take a quick little poll on where you land on this, just out of curiosity. Okay? Earthly species, because Christians have believed all 3 of these. Okay? I just want you to know that. Down through history, down through time, fairies and elementals go all the way back to the Greeks. Okay? To the Greek philosophers in the day and time. Not because they were making them up, but there was exposure to something. So what were these? Were they an earthly species? Were they just mythical creatures? Or were they spiritual beings? So I'm going to take a poll right now. How many say earthly creatures? Okay, got one. One. Okay, one, that's it. How many mythical creatures? Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay, mythical creatures. How many spiritual beings? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Okay, interesting. So we got one for an earthly species, something between a humanoid and animals. Okay, some kind of humanoid or what do you call them? with wings, small, little people, okay? Or it's just mythology, okay? Just a myth. And by the way, let me tell you that myths don't mean that there's not a reality behind them. A lot of what's called myths have a referent, have something that people were seeing, experiencing, that became the formation of something that was passed down, okay? Myths often carry culture and worldviews, okay? So, let me tell you what Fae means, F-A-E. Fae is related to fairies. The Fae means, Fae itself, the word means fate or destiny. Fate or destiny. So what I want you to note is that fairies that operate by this, they're also called the Fae, okay, which is a family of things, are there to determine our destiny or our fate. Now, I begin to see a connection between the elementals that are more modern and popular over the last 1,000 years, let's say, against the long-term history of the elementary spirits. You see the connection there just a little bit? They weren't fairies. Nobody looked up in the heavens and said the moon fairy or any of that, but they did look up and say there's some kind of divine being, spiritual forces that are at work up there, okay? Or that it's at work in fire or water, or these kind of things. Okay. Now, there was a man, a pastor, a reverend, in 1691 that he was lived in the Scottish lowlands, and his name was Reverend Robert Kirk. He was Episcopalian minister at the time. It wouldn't be nearly as liberal as they are today. Okay, so just to note that. Don't hold that against him necessarily. And he wrote this book, The Secret Commonwealth, Real Fairies in History. And his book didn't get printed until 1815 by Sir Walter Scott, historian, who himself, he got it published, okay, in 1815. He also wrote a book called Letters on Demonology and Witchcraft in 1830. That's Sir Walter Scott. What I'm trying to tell you is, first of all, that this pastor, Reverend Kirk, he knew of what you could say is folklore, but people were saying, we're having real experiences, okay? We're seeing some kind of being or creature or some kind of phenomenon, and we're experiencing things. And he went by and got anecdotal evidence. You know, there is not one piece of physical scientific evidence that I know that supports the idea of angels or demons or fairies or anything else. It comes to us anecdotally. Does that make sense? Okay. Can we give any credence to anecdotal research? That's what he was doing. He was going and getting all the stories and trying to lead, and then he writes this book. That book is reprinted multiple times over the centuries. I just want you to know that so that you don't go, Bo's off his rocker now, and he just went with this thing kind of crazy, kind of too far. That's just my opening to, I have a video that we're going to watch. You want to pull it up there, Pete? And this is a woman who has spent a day with a real live fairy. And we're going to learn some things from it, okay? Some of it you're going to go, oh my gosh, what are we watching? But then at other moments you're going to pick up stuff. And I'm going to write things on the board as we go along, okay? Here we go.
I mean, I did, but eventually I stopped believing. Until now. This is Mint, a real-life fairy. Or should I say she claims to be a fairy. Not only does she believe she's a fairy, she also says she can see and talk to other fairies. It would be very easy to dismiss her as being crazy or delusional or mentally unstable. But I think there's something deeper going on, and I want to understand what that is. So I'm going to step into Mint's fairy world for the next 24 hours to try and see reality from her perspective. Not because I'm trying to prove her wrong or poke fun at her, but because I genuinely want to understand why she believes this. Okay, let's go. We just arrived. We are outside of a tiny house right now. It's pouring rain. My inner child is just so excited. I'm gonna meet a real fairy.
Hi, hello. It's so nice to meet you. Come in. Oh my gosh, out of the rain. Oh, how are you?
Does she look like a fairy to you?
It's so rainy outside.
I know,
it's
but it's so cozy in here.
I know, it is really cozy in here.
I love your wings.
Thank you. Yes.
They're so beautiful.
Hi, I'm Mint, and I'm a real-life fairy.
What does it mean to be a real-life fairy?
At the core of it, for me personally, letting go of your humanness and allowing yourself to be free and mischievous and very close with Mother Earth.
In popular culture, fairies are often depicted as cute, whimsical creatures with magical powers and a playful, alluring nature. However, in traditional folklore, fairies did not look like Tinkerbell. They were feared and respected as powerful and unpredictable entities that could bring either good fortune or harm to those who encountered them. We're in a tiny cottage.
I know.
It's a little fairy
Sweet
home.
Little space. You don't need much because all of our living is outdoors.
Yeah.
You know? All of the loving and living happens outdoors.
What do we have planned for today?
Okay, so today we're going to be doing lots of random acts of kindness. We're going to be writing notes of encouragement and affirmations to people and leaving them in little secret spaces around the town. We're going to be making fairy food, so like offerings to the fairies, because later we're going to be visiting a very magical place. It is a chakra vortex.
Chakra vortex?
Yes, it is a chakra vortex.
Stop.
It is on Google Maps.
Pause. Okay. What was that? I can't even remember how to spell it. C-H, yeah. Oh, hey, I was going right. Chakra vortex. How many of you know what a chakra is? Okay, so a chakra is it's a center of energy, and usually the body, people who look into this will recognize that, you know, maybe there's 7 chakras in the human body, you know, that they're in places of energy. But also a chakra is wherever energy can be found. A vortex is a place that's drawing all the energies together. Okay? So I just want you to notice, I want you to pay attention to the different things that are being said here, okay? All right, let's move on.
Find it on the map.
So, for those who don't know, what is a chakra vortex?
So this is energy coming from lots of different spaces, and it swirls around and it kind of pinpoints on a space on the ground. You can be more receptive, you're open to lots of interdimensional beings, you can have really good messages there, meditation there is top notch, and you can receive a lot of healing there as well. So I love going there. I think we'll be able to find some really amazing little secret pixies, maybe some gnomes. I feel like it's very gnomey today, and
Okay,
I think that
halt
we will
again.
have a great experience.
Did you notice some of the things that she said we ought to be able to find there? What is it? Interdimensional beings, okay? Place of healing, messages, okay? So all of this stuff is coming in through this center, this spinning center where all the energy is flowing, okay, and and what's flowing in with that energy may be passing through interdimensionally portals, you know? Okay, so go ahead.
Fairies.
So we're gonna go and meet other fairies too.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay, I have so many questions for
I
you.
love answering questions.
Yeah, I mean, first of all, how did you become this fairy and embody the archetype of the fairy?
So when I was younger, when I was a child, I felt very other. I felt very different from my family, from my parents. I had this dream, and then it kind of formed this personality where I was born on a leaf, and the leaf unfurls, and there I am, sort of like a little fairy in the leaf, and I was like, oh, I'm not a human, I'm a fairy.
Wow,
Okay,
how old were you?
halt.
The first dream I
Stop.
can remember.
Okay, you're following this, right? You're hearing what's going on there. She feels very other. Does that sound like anything that's going on in our culture today? All the time. All the time. Well, I just don't feel like a human. I don't feel like a man. I don't feel like a woman. I don't feel like a person. I feel like a cat. I feel like a fairy. I feel like whatever. How did you know that? I had a dream. And in the dream, this is what I saw myself, you know, and now I realize why I felt other, because I was born on a leaf, on a branch, or whatever. Okay, all right, let's move on.
3 or 4.
So you've always felt like
Always
I am
felt
a fairy.
other. Yeah, I've always felt like, and I told my friends, I would tell them at sleepovers, I was like, I'm a fairy. And they'd be like, really? And I'd be like, yeah. And as I got older and I started doing heritage studies, my dad was very strong on me learning about my heritage. We found out that our family name is Little People.
Your family is originally from where?
A part of my family is from Nigeria. Part
That's
of my
what
family
fairies
is
are called,
from
little
Ireland
people.
and Scotland. And then part of my family is from here, Chickahominy tribe. There are
Chickahominy tribe.
loads of legends in America about the little people of the Americas, the fairies of America. I embraced it, you know, and my experiences as a very young person were very magical. I never lost that wonder. I never lost that spark of magic.
You will
Earth is
find this
magical,
belief
and we are
system in
magical
a lot of
beings here,
Native
and I think
American
that experiencing
Indian
that is wonderful.
So what
stuff
should
too
we start
is
with?
the little
First,
people.
I would like to do a cleansing on us. You know, you want to be in the purest state, pure of heart, because that's when the Fae are more receptive to you. So I would like
Cleansing.
to just kind of wash off our humanness, so to speak, so that
Wash
we're
off
pure
our
of heart and ready
humanness.
to engage.
This is how to get in shape fast. If you want.
Got to wash off our humanness. There's the skip. There's the little, yeah. Off our.
So
Problem.
this is my fairy altar space. We are going to sit down on the floor so that we're closer to the earth and have some breaths.
There's an altar to
Out
the
a big
fairies.
sigh. Think about the excitement of life, all of the beautiful things that you're going to do today. Think about what it feels like to receive a kind word, a kind gesture, or to read something that motivates you, and think about how that makes you feel. And that is the feeling that we are going to embody today. We're embodying the feeling of joy, of wonder, of kindness, of love. I'm going to just kind of dissipate the energy that's around you.
Bad energy. Got to get rid of it. Sound waves, I guess, help get rid of
Now, I'm
the
going
other
to do
waves.
something that I like to call pixie light. It's very similar to Reiki. I'm going to put my hands on your back where your wings would be. And I'm going to activate your fairy light. That
Now there's-
pureness of discovery and of adventure and release of anything that is too earthly. And when you activate your fairy light, a sense of joy will wash over you, a sense of wonder, and also a little bit of a sense of mischief, you know?
Activate fairy
activated.
light.
I feel so many tingles.
Yeah. The Fae have taught me you don't need permission to be silly. You know, you can be as bizarre and as joyful and as silly and as mischievous as you want. We're here to experience this bizarre playground called Earth. Instead of doing that, we stay in these lanes and we
follow the rules.
Yeah.
Who made the rules?
Silly humans did.
Well, what are your human responsibilities?
I'm a mother, I'm a wife, I'm a homeowner, I have a business, I'm a tarot card reader,
Aha.
I do a lot of things
Stop.
that require the human brain.
Tarot card reader. What does that got to do with fairies? But there it is in there. What you're going to find in this is a convergence of all kinds of divination and both ancient and modern things all weaving together, interdimensionals. What other kind of beings are we talking about? A vortex, chakras that comes out of some Eastern thinking and different. We may have energy. I'm not saying that, but I'm just saying how those are used, is the issue. Now, but I just want you to notice that you're going to find contradictions. You're going to find a willingness to let go of rationality too. But as we continue, let's go.
I know math and numbers and things like that, things that make you forget all of this exists. Shedding all of that and letting that go and allowing yourself to be present in nature allows you to connect with the energy and the spirits that live here and that thrive here. And it's
Energy
something
and
that
spirits.
I find to be just so freeing, just to allow yourself to forget for a little while, because you can't forget your responsibilities, but for a little while, allowing yourself to forget all of those human trappings and just be a part of this beauty, this magic that is growing all around us all the time. Now let's make our fairy food, our little fairy offering.
Fairy food.
Lots of different ways that you can make fairy food. I like to use edible butter or sugar, and then we've got some rose quartz, and we've got some wildflower seeds. Yeah. So we're put everything into our sweet little watering can. We want to put it in with the intention of placing love and life back into the earth. We wanted to let it sit on the altar for a bit just to really soak in that intention of what we're doing. So we're gonna place that right on my bare paw. Soak in this energy and the intention that we have for today, which is sharing kindness, sharing love and beauty and pureness of heart.
Energy and spirits are always
Fairies are more traditionally known as the Fae, which comes from the old French word for fairy and has roots in the Latin word fatum, meaning fate or destiny. Fairy folklore has been around for centuries, with its origin in many cultures, including Celtic, Norse, and Germanic mythology. The first recorded mention of fairies in Western literature dates back to ancient Greece and Rome, where they were known as nymphs and fauns and were believed to be the spirits of nature, inhabiting forests, mountains, and bodies of water with the power to bless or curse crops and animals. In Celtic mythology, fairies were believed to be a race of supernatural beings that lived in the other world, a parallel universe that could only be reached through special gateways or portals. What we're going to do now is that we're going to write words of affirmation, words of encouragement, or something that's very sweet that we want someone to read, maybe if they're having a bad day, or just something to uplift them. And we'll rip them into little strips so that we can make as many as we'd like, and then just place them in places around town for people to find.
I feel like crafting is definitely part of the fairy lifestyle.
It is.
I love crafts so
Me
much.
too. I do too. I know.
It just makes my inner child so happy.
Yeah, and you want your inner child to be happy. That gets you closer to the Fae spirit. But when it comes to actually working with Fae and seeing them, they're not so adorable.
What do they look like?
Not beautiful winged Tinkerbells. Sometimes they can look like demons or ogres or the stuff of nightmares, quite literally.
interesting.
It sounds terrifying.
It was.
So are the Fae evil?
I wouldn't say evil. I would just say different. They enjoy inciting emotion from people because a lot of Fae feed off of that. That's what they eat. They eat the essence of things. For a long time, I had terrible nightmares about the Fae, and that was something that kind of turned me off for a while.
How'd you
but then
get
as
over it?
I worked with a therapist to help me with my night terrors, I ended up finding that things that are kind of scary looking are only scary because of what we've been told about them. I had terrible night terrors when I was a child where the Fae kind of would be scary and very malicious looking, and it scared me so much that I had just horrible night terrors. In order to combat
Okay, hold it
that,
for a second.
I started...
Now, when you study this in history, they're dark. Somehow we baptized it in modern times and made them cute and little fairy tale type stuff. But so the history of this, she's tapping into that. When she first starts experiencing this, she's scared, fearful, having nightmares and dreams. And her therapist helped her. She's getting ready to tell you something else that helped her. Go ahead.
my journey of lucid dreaming. Instead of like seeing them and running with fear, I would just stop and actually look at their faces and look at their
Lucid
body
dreaming.
language and see what they were doing. And they weren't actually trying to get me. They weren't trying to hurt me. They were just different looking. They were scary looking. I recognized that I wasn't afraid of them. I didn't have to be afraid of them. They were in my dream. I was in control. And instead of being afraid of them, I became someone that loved them. You know,
She
that
felt
became
control.
someone that wasn't
They're in
afraid
my
of
dream,
how they
so
looked
I can control
and
them now.
what they did, and I kind of understood
She didn't
their
realize
world a little
she's
bit more. Something
coming
like
under their
this,
control.
like, you know, with the words "read me" on the outside, found somewhere. It's like, ooh, what? What is this? I think it's such a wonderful gift to add something special and magical to someone's life.
You just never know how your giving will impact somebody's life.
Exactly.
Why the U.S. Safety Commission
Yeah.
wants to ban this baseball.
The skip thing. There we go. Thanks.
Should we pull one out and read one each?
This one literally just says, do it. Do it!
Do it, do it, do it! Comment, do it right now.
So let's take these out into the world and let's make people's lives better.
The Fae like mischief, but somehow she's a fairy.
By color and so many beautiful
likes to
flowers.
Yeah.
Bring love
So
and
we've got all of our
happiness.
gorgeous little messages, and we're going to take these all around town. It's going to be super fun leaving these notes around for people to find. And we're starting at my favorite place. It's just Old Country Gardens. It's a beautiful botanical center where you can buy plants and gifts and all sorts of lovely things. And this place is teeming with Fae energy. I think they just love it here.
Fae
Get you
energy.
into these.
Over my cloak somehow.
Yeah,
Their
over your
spirits,
cloak
their
with the
energy.
back. They look adorable.
Yay!
Perfect.
Yeah.
Let's go inside and explore.
It smells so good in here. Oh, wow. This is like a fairy wonderland.
It is, it is.
These are Venus flytraps?
Yeah.
If you stick your finger in it, will it eat you?
It'll eat you.
Wait, I want to try.
Yeah.
Hello there. You have my pinky. I don't want to rip it out.
Ooh, that one was holding on tight.
That is quite something.
Let's see if we can hide some secret notes
Okay.
around in here.
Do the people working here, do they know you're leaving these?
No. It's a secret. My favorite place to put them is right in a pot. Gone. I have a note for you.
What does it say?
It says, you are loved, you are divine, you are enough, you are magical.
That's
Yes,
what
you
her
are.
message said. You are divine. She just told that person.
For you, like, what is it about them that is so exciting or appealing? Like, what about them are you drawn to?
I'm drawn to mischief, I think. I'm drawn to secrets. I'm drawn to mystery. I enjoy things that make you have a really sharp feeling, you know, that kind of like, whoa. I like being a little bit scared. I'm drawn so much to nature and the life that is here. And to deny that this tree doesn't have a spirit, doesn't have a soul, would be denying me having a spirit or me
Okay.
having a soul.
I know you
And
picked that up.
soul
We're
of
back
any
to
of these things
animism. We're
has
back
a
to
depiction and
what
it
God
is
said.
fake. So I wanted to bring you here because this is a wonderful place to contact the Fae. It's always very lively and it's really, really super high vibration. The area is very, very full of Fae energy, so it's really nice to come and give them an offering and then have a nice meditation here.
Let's
I'm really
hold it
excited.
one second.
River is so
So basically what she has just postulated is the idea now that all the elements have Fae energy or Fae spirits in them. This just takes the whole fairy thing back to the roots that we talked about that has always been with us down through time. I would say probably since the Watchers, you know, or the Sons of God kind of brought bad propaganda, you know, to humanity. But But anyhow, you just sing it in a new form, a new shape, modernized, whatever these things get repackaged and stuff like that. But go ahead.
Isn't it gorgeous?
Over here for a minute.
Yeah.
You saw something? Yeah. What did you see?
A little tiny, like, oh, it's so small. Oh, come on, you're gonna miss it.
What is it?
I can't really tell from here. It looks like a little stick man.
A stick man.
Stick man.
A very small stick man. He has maybe like a yellow leaf or something, like kind of outfit. He's like a sycamore stick man, like a really light pale gray branch with maybe a little bit of brown. He's right between the two, right between that sad mattress. And
How
if
do you know? It looks like just a bunch of sticks to me.
you have to soften your gaze.
Soften your gaze.
Soften your
I have
gaze.
to get out of my.
You have to get out of your
adult
own
brain.
Get out of your own head.
Get
you
out of
see
your
him
own-
going like this? You stop.
How
You
do
see
you
it.
know that you're not just making this up in your head? You know?
I could be.
Yeah.
What does it matter?
Stop.
What does it matter?
I could be. What does it matter?
The Fae.
Is it a?
So we're using our imagination now. We're trying to get out of our rational thinking, use our imagination. What does it matter if it's real or not, as long as we imagine it and see it? But wait a second. You've been talking about the Fae energy, that there are real spirits living in us. And by the way, you claim to be a fairy, you know, and so, but now I'm looking at a little stick man that's supposed to be a fairy. And now we're saying, what does it matter whether you see all these contradictions in what she is saying? Now we'll get a final assessment here in just a few minutes. But
Through
let's go ahead.
in-betweens. So whenever you're looking for them, if you're calm enough and quiet enough, and if there's a space in between another space, just that perfect triangle between those mattresses, it gives you a portal into a world that you wouldn't see normally.
Portal into
But
a world.
My.
Don't but.
I know.
Don't say but.
Well, I gotta call it out. You know, my analytical brain wants to know. Okay, what's the logical thing there? Is it a leaf going like that? Is it? And you know, it could be. It probably is.
Yeah. Or it's a stick man with a cute little white beard.
When we're kids, we're so imaginative. And we talk to fairies, and we talk to elves, and we see sick people, and we make up these whole worlds in our imagination that make life so special and magical, and then it just gets knocked out of us after
But then
time.
we can get it again. If you just
We
let
lose
yourself,
our
if you
childhood
allow
imagination
yourself
when we
that
get
stillness
become
of
adults, and
mind
she's saying we
heart,
can get it
you know?
again.
I like my
And we
life.
need
I like
that
the way I live.
To see the
I like my
reality
view on
or
life.
make
I
up
like
the
my
reality.
experiences. I love my imagination.
I
Like
love
just being here in nature
Yeah.
changes you.
Yeah.
It relieves stress.
I think life is literally all our perspective.
And it's
we
your
are
perception.
exactly, and perception is reality, and so
Perception
we get to
is
perceive
reality.
reality the way we desire.
Yep.
And I really think that's what this is about. You
It
know,
is.
for me at least, it's coming to spend time with someone like you. Is I just want to see reality in different ways, and I'm getting to the point where I don't really care what someone else says
Yeah.
is supposed to be reality.
Yeah.
It's like, well, there's infinite possibilities, so we get to decide what reality we want to live in. And I think if it's not harming
So
anyone,
truth
and if it makes
and
you
the world around us
happier,
is determined by
then
what we
by all means,
want it to be,
See the stick
not
man.
by the way it
Stick man.
truly
Yeah.
is.
Yeah. Hi, stick man.
Like, has there been a time where you believe I really have been making all of this up the whole time?
Good question.
No. What do I want the world to know about fairies? That they aren't like Tinkerbell. Seeking them out is something that you do with caution. Be careful.
Seeking them out.
See, this place is marked
Be cautious.
with a pentacle. I didn't put this here. This is here because people come here very often to do meditation and to do rituals and things of that nature. It's a really nice, energetic like vortex here, so it's
So
wonderful.
people,
I
not
think
just fairy
is the
people, but
chakra
all
vortex-
kinds
this
of other
is the
kind
chakra
of
vortex
people
here,
with
marked
world
by the
views and
tentacle
stuff
right
are coming
between these
here.
trees. Yeah, it's wonderful.
It's a
here.
vortex.
It's great.
A portal.
So I want to definitely put an offering here if there are any energies that would like to commune with us. Do you have a protective symbol?
Not necessarily.
Okay. So for me, I have protective symbols. I have protective animals that I draw in whenever I'm doing any kind of work. We're going to walk the circle, still with an open heart, walking with our protection. And we're going to kind of summon energies toward us in a way that is very welcoming and very open.
Come to us, fairies.
Listen to our voices.
Come to us, fairies.
Some deep ones for the gnomes. The gnomes like the deep notes.
You gotta sing lower, summon them lower
Yeah,
to
the-
get
the
a gnome
gnomes
to
and the
come.
trees tend to like really deep notes.
Come to
that
us,
low.
gnomes. We would like to play today.
Shimmy out of the earth and show me your beard.
Show us yourselves, little gnomes.
I thought you were doing scissor fingers at first, and I'm like, what are you doing?
I'm just doing
She thinks that's
salad
strange.
fingers.
So we already shed some of our humanness, but let's shake off the rest.
Shed,
Shimmy, shimmy,
shake off our
shake your wings,
humanness.
get everything off. It's important to relax your eyes and relax your mind and allow for your openness to extend to another level.
Okay.
We're just going to close our eyes, deepen our breath. Think about something that gives you great emotion, strong emotions. And
we're
what I'm
focusing
listening
on our
for,
feelings.
the way that I know that the Fae are near, is that I will hear music. For you, it could be something different. Maybe you'll smell something, hear something. Maybe you'll just get a feeling telling you that they're near.
Big retailers don't want you to have
15 minutes later. This takes a lot of time to work yourself into this, by the way.
I swear I heard footsteps. Yeah.
Behind us.
Yeah, I heard it behind us too. Yeah, I was gonna say behind us.
Did you
I could
hear that?
Yeah. Yeah,
I thought it was her.
I thought maybe it was like
Caitlin.
a,
Behind the camera. I thought she walked around to like get something.
I thought someone was like coming.
Or
Yeah. I thought someone was like coming in behind us, but it's.
I really
can-
thought I heard like footsteps.
Yeah. No, yeah. I can hear the changes in the atmosphere. I can feel the changes in the atmosphere. Sometimes I'll even feel this like interesting. I'm gonna do it to you. I'll feel like this feeling. Yeah. I'll feel a feeling like someone's turning my head.
Yeah.
That's usually what I get when it's like if I can feel the change in the atmosphere, the change in the pressure, the stillness that comes with their presence, and then I'll feel my head kind of being turned. But it's a gift. It's a gift if they allow you to feel their presence and to see them.
It's a gift
So
from the fairies.
gratitude has to be on the forefront, like at all times.
Like I really feel like I'm hearing footsteps.
Yeah.
It's kind of freaking me out.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm just making it up, but
No, I hear it. I hear it. I
so
heard it again
freaking
just
me
then. Yeah,
out.
I heard it. Yeah, I hear it. I hear it. I hear it.
I really don't think I'm making that up.
No, you're not. I hear it.
Like I seriously hear footsteps.
Yeah.
Like
You're like,
really like little
Yeah.
footsteps. Just
yeah.
oh my gosh. What is that? Is that is it a bug? Like
It sounds like really fast, like little.
no, it's so weird. Like I feel like I just want to go into like I'm just making it up. Like what is that?
Don't though.
Okay, today I'm Okay.
Try.
I know.
It's hard. I know it's
I
hard.
know,
it's
but
hard.
I'm here to be in your world, so
Yes.
I am gonna like open myself up and just not like judge it, whatever.
Try to rationalize anything.
Yeah, we're in our childlike wonder
here.
today.
Yeah.
But that's freaking me out. Oh my gosh.
The more it freaks you out, the more they're gonna do it.
Yeah, I like it. It's kind of fun.
Yeah, they like it. They like when you're freaked out.
Show me yourselves.
They're like, hey, you know. It's like I said, it's funny to scare people. It is. It's funny. It's like a fun thing. There's trickster energy here with us.
Trickster energy.
So tricksters, not old ones, kind of young. They like to do little things to you, like pinch you and trip you and pull your hair and push you and it's funny and it's interesting, but it's also a little annoying. Ooh.
Can you put this on pause for just a second?
Me.
I'm just curious if anybody has ever had this experience. When I was a child growing up, I remember a number of times I was like a lot of kids are interested in some horror and mystery stuff. Now, when I was growing up, it wasn't anything like it is today, but I would be drawn to watching stuff like that if my parents would let me. And I think the curiosity is that we're drawn to supernatural, and we don't always see the supernatural in Christianity, you know, so we're drawn to when something else is provided, you know, like that. But I remember as a kid, sometimes at night I would be in fear and I would sense a presence or whatever. And I remember sometimes I was wide awake and I would either see images or, they talk about touching and pinching. I remember getting pinched a few times and it just shocked me. It's like, what was that? You know? And And I associated at the time with something, my little childhood mind was this is something spiritual or demonic, you know. I remember being with a few friends and doing little seance or little, you know, only a couple of times, but nothing happened then. But you start opening those doors, you know, to things you're not supposed to. But anyhow, anybody ever experience anything like I just described? Okay, yeah, some of you, yeah. Okay, yeah, just curious, does all demonic stuff have to be deadly, or can it be a toying with, like the trickster thing? Yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah, and I think that's exactly what we're looking at here with this. How far gone this girl meant is you know we can diagnose, but definitely she's drawn in, and she's willing to sacrifice her rational thinking and a whole lot of other things. I mean, if you were to sit down with her and really talk with her about how is it that you think that a human being can be a fairy. You've already said that a fairy is an energy and a spirit and all these other things, but somehow you see yourself as one. You know, there's a lot of things that are going on here. Spiritually, using your imagination, all this kind of stuff. But anyhow, I was just curious about that. We're almost done. Let's wrap this up. Yeah, imitation. Uh-huh. Yeah. Yeah. You see this constant, she's trying to coach this other girl into, you know, you got to let that go. You got to wash off your humanness. You got to soften your gaze. You've got to, all these things are coaching her in this way. Guided imagery is something that has been around a lot of the New Age stuff. Sadly, I think working its way into some forms of Christianity, especially when it comes to spirit travel. But anyways. Yeah. She's going to she never brings up Jesus, but she's going to bring up God and some things here in a minute that make you realize how she has made her decisions. So you're right about that. Yeah. Okay. All right.
What did you feel?
It was like this. Oh, they're not very nice.
They're not nice?
No. Like, no, nice fairies don't exist.
Really? You don't think so?
There are some types of fae that are okay with humans, yeah, that don't try to hurt humans and things like that. We're the villains in the nature story, you know? We create things that kill the world.
It's true.
We create things that kill the world.
Someone doing this to you.
How do you know that?
I can, it's as if my eyes are open when they're closed. I can see it, I can feel it. Someone's doing this to you, they like your hair. Yeah.
How do you know that is really what's happening?
I can feel the air is warmer right behind you here. And you can feel the presence right behind you. So I could hear they're like doing this and like rubbing the side of your head and going and like whispering at you, giving you ideas, giving you something. Yeah.
Should I listen?
Maybe. Let's work with this and see if we can like tap into whatever the message is.
Okay.
So calm everything, calm all of your functions here. Keep your mind as quiet as possible. Yeah, it is. It's creativity, inspiration. It's yellow. So think about, it's like a yellow kind of swirling liquid, sparkly swirling yellow liquid, and it's kind of like moving in and out, sort of like a figure eight. And it has a tone, it has a sound. And what does it sound like to you? What is the tone?
It's like going like...
Yeah, yeah. And within those notes, there's a message. She's pushing you. She's going like this. She's pushing you like this. Like there's something that there's something that you want to do or that you want to experience, and she's pushing you to do it. There's a chance of you getting hurt. Physical pain and like anguish, things that you will heal from, are trivial.
Did Harvard
They're
University
trivial. You know, things that will hurt you, pain. She's going to explain that a little bit more here in a second.
Okay, like, so what if you break your leg? What will you gain from the experience? So what if you lose something that you don't really need? What will you gain from that experience?
How do you know that it's here?
I just know.
feel it.
And I can see like an outline. She looks like a woman. She's pushy, you know. And she thinks it's silly that you're not doing it, whatever it is. She also is like a little bit fed up. Like there's something you asked for and then you got it, but then you didn't celebrate the fact that you had it.
I actually had my 5-year anniversary of my YouTube channel.
Oh, yay.
But I didn't celebrate.
Oh, you didn't?
No.
Why?
I got food poisoning. But also I didn't have any plan to celebrate. It was like, all I did was paint rocks in the woods with my boyfriend.
Yeah.
Some power of suggestion in there too.
More sugar. My wing just scared me. I was like, what is that? Are they still around?
Yeah, I feel like that trickster energy is just gonna stick with us.
I don't know if those were footsteps or what, but I swear I kept
I
hearing
definitely
it.
felt the presence of a procession. So
It was
definitely.
so weird. I was like, what? Is this, am I making this up? Like, that's what I straight up go to. I'm like, this is not like how in real, you know?
But you know, it's hard to get out of that mindset, but you have to just like drop it. Am I making this up? Is such a human question to ask. If you were just a light being, would you be like, am I really here? Am I really doing this? Is this really happening?
Have you been ridiculed at all for?
Oh yeah, People love making fun of me. People love making fun of me. It doesn't matter to me. My connection with nature, with energy, with the Fae, is mine alone. Believing in these things to me is the same as believing in a God and believing in heaven and angels. It's the same thing. If you can believe in something that you can't see, then what is the difference, really? It can be angels for you, it can be fairies for me, and we can both be happy. My goal is to be as loving and as comforting.
We'll go ahead and close it off right there. There's just a little bit more, but
whimsical.
I at least wanted to get to that point. It shows, what does it matter? You believe in something, believe in my own truth, my own reality. It's like merging all these ideologies together. There's a spiritual component, there's a human component, an unrational side of it too. All of these sorts of things. Well, what was the edification of this today? I don't know for you at this moment. But again, it's one of those things that I wanted us to think about, because I don't know if any of your views changed, but there are Christians down through history and many cultures who believe that the Fae or fairies or different parts of the family tree are actually called little people, and that they live underground. This Presbyterian, excuse me, no, I won't even go there. I don't have time for it. But that they are actually a earthly creature. Okay. There are those that just say she is so off her rocker. This is just mythological stuff. There's never been any element of truth to any of that. And then there's those that would say, well, I think it's some kind of a spiritual reality, perhaps as she described halfway through that, what did she say? She says, when I first encountered the Fae, she goes, I was scared. They didn't look like Tinkerbell. They looked like what? Demons. Yeah, and she said they were horrific. They were scary, But it took me time. I went to my therapist. I did lucid dreaming. I did all this stuff to get to where I could accept their look, whatever she saw. So let me tell you what I see in this. I don't know that there's any evidence that would support the idea of physical another species, but you can't totally write it off. But I don't see any evidence for it. What I would say though is that the mythological side of it tells me that there's been some kind of phenomenon that people have experienced in different cultures and things like that make you go, there's something to this. What is it? My worldview as a Christian, where I understand that there are good divine beings that God created, Elohim, angels, whatever you want to call them, and some of those fell. And then also we not only have fallen angels, but we have at least demons who might be the disembodied spirits of the Nephilim. All of these sorts of things gives me a worldview that makes me realize that the enemy has multiple ways to deceive, to delude, and so I tend to put that in a category of part of what she has is contradiction. She's taking that childlike faith to an extreme, to a dangerous place where she's opening herself up to something else. But it's like there will be no rationalistic thinking. Mm.
There were people that played with Ouija boards, and what I heard there was, you start dabbling in the occult, you open yourself up, it's the same spirit.
Mm-hmm.
It is exactly the same spirit as was happening back then.
Yeah.
With Ouija boards and anything else. And that's why God says, don't have any part of it.
Yeah.
Don't do it. Very
yep.
explicit about it, but man, I would tell everybody, memorize 1 John 4:2. Test the spirits to see whether they're from God, because many false prophets have gone out into the world.
Mm-hmm.
Every spirit that acknowledges that Jesus Christ has come in the flesh is from God.
Yeah.
Every spirit that does not is not from God.
Yeah. Yeah.
This is the spirit of the Antichrist, which is first coming and even now is already in the world.
Yeah.
So with this,
Uh-huh.
this is a people are thinking about this, right?
Yeah.
Like Paul, Peter, James, they dealt with people who had these kind of things at the same time, so they had an idea what it was, and so they could relate, connect to people, right?
Mm-hmm.
Talking instead of stepping on it and crushing it
Yeah.
with your mouths.
Yeah.
But we have a connection with people because we know just a teeny bit about this. And like Justin said, the conversation starts, but we don't let it run and roll, but we bring in Jesus Christ, the gospel into this, and say, okay, well, we talk about Jesus, about this. How does Jesus relate to
Yeah.
As opposed to letting
Yeah.
them roll and let someone do whatever they do. We keep bringing Jesus, not to crush anybody, but to bring him in.
Yes. And that's a point that I was hoping to drive home for us too. Now, this girl, I just found out yesterday that went and did her whole thing. She does this. She's done this with vampires and Native American stuff, all kinds of stuff. I'm like, whoa, this is what she does. She's exploring all these things. I think it's kind of dangerous the level that she's willing to go. She doesn't, I don't think she believes in it yet. If you hear her ending, she's gone through the whole thing. She does, but she says, what she does is what the rest of our culture says: choose your own reality, your own truth. I don't really necessarily believe that this is really happening, but I think having alternative worldviews is a good thing, different realities. That's where the other girl was from. But what I want to be able to do is engage people in conversation and know a little bit about things. I don't have to know about every little thing. Well, let me find out how to deal with people who believe in gnomes. Well, how about people who believe in nymphs? No, I think you generally get the family idea, and you kind of understand that there's a converging of all kinds of ideologies. And if you're at least familiar with it, you can have an intelligent conversation rather than going, "You're crazy." Because now the conversation shut off. It's lost. It's like, I want to treat the person with a little bit of dignity to go, I understand. You're interested in supernatural things. You're interested in maybe the spirit world here a little bit. Hey, let's talk about it. Tell me a little bit about what you believe. Would you mind if I shared what I believe about the spirit world? And then you have a conversation. And you can bring in how Jesus is the one who, is, yeah. And so that's one of the things. Here's another little quick thing, and I'm going to close this off, is the more I've been studying some of the stuff and just exploring, it wasn't like I've had a great fascination with fairies. I never have. All of a sudden just got off into it because people started asking me about them. Well, let me look into that a little bit more. You start, well, what about Bigfoot? What about mermaids? What about, you just go on and on and on. But here's what I'm noticing. I'm noticing commonality between all of these things, like UFOs, like aliens, people who have claimed encounters with aliens. It's almost the exact same thing. They want to do the same stuff. Energies, portals, interdimensionals, all of these sorts of things. There is a reality, is what I'm saying. There's a reality. There's also wrong-headed thinking, and at times irrational, okay, or emotional, or imaginative. All that goes in there because the spirits know how to play on our human nature, okay, and draw us out. Yeah.
Distortion of ugliness and a sense of darkness. A lot of the things you do, a lot of the movies we've seen, everything is in the dark.
Yeah.
And God is not a God of the dark.
Mm-hmm.
He's light.
Yeah.
Light comes into the darkness, and God is beautiful.
Yeah.
Not the opposite.
But in this case, she's trying to show beauty, even though she acknowledges there's darkness.
Darkness and the
Yeah.
shapes and the sizes and
Yeah.
everything. And that's scary.
Yeah.
Because it's not of the beauty of God. It's
Mm-hmm.
on the opposite.
Yeah.
Of that side. Even if you remember the movie The Passion.
Mm-hmm.
Remember when Judas was coming out, they had that guy walked around. Then they had those kids go after him.
Mm-hmm.
It was all evil looking.
Yeah.
It's like distortion of
Mm-hmm.
reality of what it is, and that's scary.
Yeah.
Start thinking of those kind of things.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's right. So anyhow, so concludes our one on fairies. You can pray for me this week. I'll have my stuff ready for angels next week, and so anyhow, we're going to close. Doug, would you close us in prayer?